Let me, yes. Harish, what exactly is the situation on the ground? I want to understand from you, because you are reporting that the security in Chitradurga has been increased and multiple checkpoints are being created.
Well, let's remember that he's a crucial person. He's someone who has a huge devotee base, especially in the central Karnataka region, in Chitradurga region. And the police understand that there could be a bunch of devotees who might create trouble, who might protest. And that's the reason we do understand that checkpoints are being set up across Chitradurga city. In fact, there has been security which has been stepped up outside the mutt as well. And this probably could be a precautionary measure as well, because this is something that the cops had done earlier too. When they saw that the devotee base turning up at the mutt had increased, they had stepped up security, especially after he made that failed attempt to flee. He was stopped at Haveri, asked to get back to the mutt. Ever since then, the police have been cautious, not just to ensure that the devotees can be managed, but also to ensure that the Swamiji doesn't try to flee once again. And now with him having been arrested, they do not want to take any chances with these devotees, and that's the reason they've stepped up security in Chitradurga. Perhaps this is something that was being planned. Remember, earlier in the day, we had told on CNN News 18 that A2 Rashmi, the accused number 2 Rashmi, was picked up for questioning, and the Karnataka police sources had told CNN News 18 that it was just a matter of time before the Swamiji is picked up, because everyone was asking the police on the kind of approach that they had taken. They had taken the accused number 2 Rashmi for questioning, while the prime accused Swamiji was still in the jail, and there were serious question marks on whether the government was really going slow and how he was being treated. And also there were two crucial pressures on the government. Remember, one, after having arrested A2 Rashmi or detained A2 Rashmi, yes, there were questions on why the government hadn't arrested the prime accused. Second, remember, there is a petition that's pending before the Karnataka High Court. 5 lawyers went to the Karnataka High Court today saying that they believe an impartial probe is not possible. They want a court-monitored probe. And there was a fear that if the government doesn't act in a time-bound manner, the High Court might take cognizance of that. It might order a court-monitored probe, and which becomes all the more difficult. The third question that many were asking the government is the government waiting for the legal team of the Swamiji to get anticipatory bail? Those hopes too were quashed today, because the anticipatory bail hearing didn't happen today. It was postponed to tomorrow, and many wondered on whether a district judge or a district court would give anticipatory bail for a prime accused booked under the POXCO Act. Yes. So perhaps finally the government, with no option left, had to arrest him.
Yes, and Shreeram Nayak is one of the petitioners. He was before the Karnataka High Court today. Mr. Nayak, among the multiple sections which has been registered against the accused, 5 accused in all, and accused number 1, the seer has been arrested today, is also SCST Prevention of Atrocities Act as well. POXO Act, SCST Act, including Protection of Children from Sexual Act. All these acts, when you look at, these are serious charges. He cannot really escape, he could not really escape, and finally law catching up with the seer. Would you now say that the government had no option, the cops there on the ground had no option because of the public outrage, and also realizing fully well that the legal options were also closing in?
Now the problem here would be the investigation has been started just now after his arrest. There are many things which are to be followed, and our petition is for overlooking at the investigation. So our petition still stands, and I think the court should monitor because of the statements previously made by the learned politicians in support of the accused number 1. So if the court intervenes and conducts impartial investigation by overseeing the investigation, then the victory would be of the victim girls.
So when you say that your petition still stands, because the petition specifically talks about that you were fearing prejudice, and so far the entire case has been prejudiced because of the political statements, because of the influence and power the seer actually enjoyed. But now that you have been asking for court-monitored probe, will that petition still continue to stand after this arrest?
Now what happens is, once the petition is filed before the registrar, it will be scrutinized and it will be forwarded to the Chief Justice of Karnataka. After the Honorable Chief Justice looks into the matter, if it feels that, then the matter will be that the petition will be converted into a PIL. The public interest litigation will be then heard, and the probe will be ordered as per the order passed by the Honorable High Court. So that is the procedure.
And in your petition, I'm looking at the petition that you have filed. You talk about how these two girls went to Mysuru to file the charge, and then the case was brought before the Chitradurga Rural Police Station. Would you then say that the reason why the FIR was delayed was because the police was hoping to make a watertight case against him, and given the kind of influence and power that he enjoyed, they could not have really gone wrong on any front? They wanted to collect all evidence, and that is the reason why the question, the recording of the statement before under 164 has also happened today of the two minors.
The 164 statement was done yesterday, I believe.
Yes.
And the only problem here would be the murder which happened. The minor victim girls were taken to the mutt when the accused number one was present there. As per the POCSO Act, they should not have done that because the accused number one should not be before the...
Yes.
Accused number one should not be before the victim girls as per the POCSO Act. So, the investigation has to be fair. They are breaking the law. That is why we had filed this particular petition.
And when you say free and fair investigation, so far the investigation had not been free and fair. Are you hopeful now that the investigation will be heading in the right direction?
I think so. Now the matter has been, the investigation has been started now at least. If the court monitors the probe, then I'm very sure the justice will prevail.
So the court-monitored probe is what the petitioners are asking for. Mr. Patabi, do you think that is the right direction? And also, there are several people and activists and lawyers as well who have been demanding that the entire case be shifted to another state where the politicians will not be able to influence the case.
Yes, there were earlier instances where in such cases where accused was an influential person, the case was shifted to another state where, for example, you take Jayalalitha's case, and prior to that, many other cases where the other state will not have this sort of pressures from political, social, religious states, and the investigation as well as the judicial system will work unhindered. So there is a saying that justice should not only be done,
but seem to be done. But here, after 6 days, it took 6 days for justice to be seen to be done. The question is, will now there be a court-monitored probe? Because people in Karnataka and outside don't seem to have any faith in the police and administration there. And should this case be shifted out of Karnataka? I'll give the final